Guys, I want to talk about housing your market lambs, your sheep, your show sheep today. So, how are you going to do that? What do you need to do to keep those market animals safe? Now, any animal is going to need these things, but for sure we're talking about show animals, so they're going to have leg wool, and so we really want that to stay clean and protected so it really grows out. We want the lambs to stay dry and healthy. We want them to stay warm in the wet weather. You need housing that kind of accommodates all those things. So the first basic would be 3 sides and a roof. And then we'll also talk about flooring a little bit so they can get out of the mud, okay? So those would be the basics right there. 3 sides and a roof, that means protection from the wind and rain and all of that. So you could even go out and get 3 pallets, free pallets, and put them together. They need to be really secure using T-posts, using hammering and nailing it together, getting that very secure in 3 sides and a back and 2 sides and then a top. And then the top needs to be completely able to keep out all rain, anything like that, right? And the sides need to be able to block the wind and things like that. So it needs to be safe, it needs to be secure, and it needs to protect the animal inside. So if you wanted to do something like a chain link, then you can put a roof on that, keeping water out, but the sides are still going to let in wind and rain and things like that. So you need something on at least 3 of those sides. Maybe some more roofing on the sides, or tarps around the sides. You can put wood on the outsides if you use something like a chain link, something like that. Or you could build something a little bit more permanent and secure. So I'll show you some videos of some of those things that we've done. Since ours are more upgraded, we've made them a little nicer. You can still see that they're a little bit older, and so they're not going to be great, but they'll at least give you an idea of what they look like and how we have put those together. Okay, so those are the ideas. We need 3 sides and a roof, and we need the animal to be completely protected from rain, wind, and all that. Now, what about mud? So mud is one of the harder things. So you want a floor that they can get up out of the rain, mud, especially if the rain's going to be going through it at all. You want the area that they're laying down to be completely dry so that they're protected. So what you can do is you can even put a pallet down and put a piece of plywood or something on top of it, or if the planks are really close together, then a pallet would work fine. You just want that to be able for them to get up and be on it without catching their hooves in there or injuring themselves in any way at all. So that just needs to be safe. You can cover that with a stall mat. You can cover that with shavings, assuming you've already kept it so that it's safe. And you can keep that as a good area for them to get up out of the rain. And then you can always clean the shavings off and put new shavings on. You can even use straw if you want to. Shavings are easy to clean off those sleek surfaces, but both of those are good, okay? So you can use that, and then you can either just put a gate on the front of it and keep the animals in there and then take them out. You need to be taking these animals out every single day, pretty much regardless. I mean, if you build yourself a run, so if you don't put a gate on the actual house and you instead build some panels going out, or somehow for the animal to get out and have some room to exercise and move around, and then put a gate at the end of that, that's possible. You still need to take the animal out almost every single day to make sure that they're getting their full exercise. And then if you're working on them, these are show animals again, in terms of training, you absolutely need to be taking them out every day. So those are some different things that you're going to do to work with those animals and get those animals, to house those animals and get those ready for show.
All right, guys, so let's go ahead and go out to the barn and take a look at some different housing options, okay? So this one here, you could see the roofing is there, and of course it's a little bit run down. But here inside, the animal is completely protected from wind, the rain, all of that. She's got a back, she's got a roof, and sides. Now, this is kind of looking inside of here, so we can see they've got lots of individual pens. We've got 2 sides and a back on here. So this is actually just a bunch of pens just divided by a panel, as you can see there. Each lamb has their own individual pen. So that's how we do that. We personally like to have a bit of roofing extend over the back a little bit, and then we have openings here so that we can feed the animals through here, and we can just put the feed straight through these back openings, and each animal can get fed just like that. Really simple, really easy to check on their feed, make sure everything's good with them, And as you can see, the run in the background and the water down there. They have a ramp to go down and then water. Okay, so all of these things, this is just one setup that we do that works for us. Here's the outside kind of looking up. You can see the other side of it, and just, a little overview of what that empty house looks like, and how each of these buildings are connected. This is just how we set it up because we had a lot. Now here's one more last housing setup. We'll go inside here. You can see this one actually is just a single building with walls all the way around. Of course, it's a little dirty, but you can see we can get some ventilation up high. And then this one actually has automatic waters, which is not very normal for sheep. And then we have a hanging feeder. Okay?
All right, so we've got flooring, we've got a run, and we've got a roof, okay? Now, I also wanna touch on feeders. It's really important that you have hanging feeders. Anything lower is gonna waste feed. So you don't wanna waste feed, you want you want feeders that you can hang, and you can lift them up to about the height of the animal's back, okay? They could be a little bit higher if the animal is really tall, but that's a pretty good safe bet is to put it at the height of their back. Then they'll easily be able to get their nose in there and eat the feed like that. Anything lower than that, they're going to be able to get up into. They're going to possibly be able to tip it over. If it's like on the ground, then that means that they're going to be wasting feed. They're going to be getting their feed dirty, so they're not going to want to eat it as well. And you're just not going to know how much they're eating. So you always want to be able to know for sure how much that animal is eating by checking their feeder every morning and every single night. Highly recommend hand feeding, which means you're giving them exactly what they need. You're taking anything they don't eat out, you're lowering the feed to that amount and giving them it again. And then, of course, they should no longer be leaving feed, but if they ever leave it, you take it out and put fresh stuff in, okay? If they're ever leaving feed, that again gives you an idea of how they're doing, if they're healthy, if things are going okay. So having hand feeding like that twice a day is really, really important. You can even up that to 3 times a day with certain animals and certain programs that you're feeding them for certain things, okay? But always hand feeding twice a day rather than dumping in extra feed, okay? So we're gonna do that. You can also get yourself some hay. You're not gonna feed them very much, maybe like an alfalfa, and you're pretty much just feeding them the stems of that to get their gut working properly. So we're not gonna be putting in a bunch of hay in for them, just about a good little handful to get their gut moving before you give them their grain, and that's pretty much it, okay, for these show market wethers, these sheep. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have a bucket for water, and this should be a clean bucket. If it's the lighter the color of the bucket, the better, because the tests have been done that show that lambs that can see their water, see through it, are more likely to drink more water. So to keep your animals better hydrating, having a blue bucket or a white bucket helps them to drink more, rather than having a black bucket or something dark where they can't see the water. It's another reason to clean your water bucket every single day so that animal drinks more and is more healthy and hydrated, okay? So that helps these show animals, these show lambs. And then just make sure that you have your building and everything completely secure and have your feed, your grain, and your hay at your home before you bring that lamb home. If you need to, you can call the breeder ahead of time, ask them what feed they have, ask them if they're going to give you a sample to switch over their feed for the first week. Ask them what they can do. If you're going to feed the same feed, you can just get your own bag and start right when you get home, right? So just talk it through with your breeder. That helps. If you're breeding your own lambs, you're set. We just recommend that when they're taken from the ewes, they're weaned, then you put them in their own individual pens.
All right, guys, let's look at this one again. So you can see the automatic feeder there and the hanging feeder there. That's a pre-made feeder that's made for something like pigs. And then in these individual pens here, we have these black feeders that are hanging with clips. This is a really good setup. You just want to raise them to the right height of the lambs. Obviously, we haven't done that. These lambs have just been put in here, and so they're not all set up yet. You can see with the tall lamb there, he's standing in his feeder, exactly what they'll do if the feeder's too low. So you do want that to be lifted to about the same height as their back, and they can easily eat out of those feeders like that. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you with some of your housing information, and check out my books if you're interested in more showmanship information.